If you're just tuning in, it's Michael Cudlitz who is here with us.
The earlier roles, you have 90210. You're also in Dragon the Bruce Lee story, right?
And Chinaman, teach us those moves.
Wait a minute. You were in that scene?
Yeah, he's one of the...
I am that scene.
Wait,
I'm Bruce Lee.
No.
Dude, you were phenomenal.
I'm amazing.
You looked Asian.
Wait, when he was in the going to college and he's training in the...
I represent the man.
Okay, I have to go back and I've seen that movie a bunch of times.
But you
were very forgettable in it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. What's the show again? What do you guys do? When does this air? This will be on TV later, right?
Yeah.
But listen,
radio. They still do that.
We're huge in Lakewood.
I know nobody's there, so I couldn't tell you. I'll go back and see what's going on.
Listen, I got on board with The Walking Dead very, very late. I didn't start until the 6th season, then I watched every day. And in fact, it helped me out. It actually helped me lose some weight because I made a decision that I got it on Netflix and I'm going to watch. The only time I'm going to watch it is when I'm exercising. So it became my appointment to exercise. I could only exercise when I was watching Walking Dead. I could only watch Walking Dead when I was exercising. It was actually a really cool thing to do. So I became a huge fan of this. I've gotten all the way up to the end of season 6. And then it stopped on Netflix. It ends.
Oh my god!
And then I had to wait because I couldn't go watch the current. I had to wait until it came back around. So that just recently.
And we kept you protected. We kept you in the
Nobody
dark.
told me anything. And Casey says, "Listen, before Michael comes in, watch the first episode of season 7."
He's a giver.
He is. I didn't watch it, but I read on my little prep sheet a little spoiler alert. So I found out today, man. I'm sorry.
All right, it's okay. I may or may not come back by the end of the season.
There's always flashbacks, man. And
no, last year. She's over here going, no, end of season 7.
I mean, even now, there's still some people who are not quite sure what happens to your character.
I know. Well, yes. Yeah. And that's the thing where where does that line drawn? Where, you can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, it's like,
come on, dude.
It's in a year.
Yeah.
We get to talk about it. Abraham's dead. Dead. Okay, if you're listening in your car and you're driving your kids to school, Abraham is dead. Not only Abraham is dead, then they kill Glenn.
Yeah. Oh, and that was
You're
pretty
right.
brutal,
There needs to be an expiration date.
Like a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
There should be, like in the Hunger Games, an announcement across on some universal PA system. Yeah. Okay, now we can talk about it.
For some reason, the final scene in the end of season 6 stuck with me for a long. I thought about it every single day, just because it was gripping, and obviously it was you don't know who's on the receiving end of the bat, and I just. I don't know why, but every single day, at least once a day, I would just think Negan, bat, head, and that's Who is it? And it wasn't.
And we all thought it was gonna be Maggie. Let's beat up the sick pregnant lady.
Yeah.
Right, network television.
To me, it didn't matter who it was. I just knew that somebody that I had cared about for a few years was going to be gone, and I had preferred it to be Eugene, but it wasn't.
Yeah, me too. I was hoping for that.
That annoying bastard.
The reaction. I'm a fan of the show too, so I was kind of like a little part of me was pissed off that they did us both at the same time. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of brilliant too because it's so brutal, and it is that reminder that Kirkman always says he wants to constantly remind the audience that it's a dangerous world that we're living in. Mm-hmm. It's not Star Trek, where Captain Kirk, he's in danger, but that's okay because he'll be on next week.
Exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
He may actually blow Captain Kirk's head off this week.
Yeah,
and that changes the whole viewing experience.
It does.
And I would argue that these 2 deaths were not actually any more violent than anything we've seen on the show, but you don't care about any of those other characters that
That's a good point
about these characters.
Because other characters have been ripped apart.
Oh, Noah got it nailed in the revolving door up against the glass, getting ripped apart. We've had people literally holding their guts, going, "What? I don't." Jeez. I mean, there's been some really nasty, awesome visual stuff.
I think for me, I got to the game. a season late. It might have been 2 seasons late. And for me, it was because I didn't want to watch a zombie show. And then I realized that this is it's not a horror show. And I didn't realize it until I was probably about halfway through the first episode, maybe the second episode, because I kind of watch horror movies with my hands over my eyes. And I realized that I didn't have to do that. And then I realized that the zombies are a background almost like the trees are. You know what I mean? And it was really all about the relationships between these people and, you know, what that type of situation will do to a person.
Yeah, turn into when there's a overwhelming crisis, you know.
Well, it's like if you had a chance to rebuild society, what would you do?
Yeah.
You know, if
a
you
feudal society?
And how would it fail? What are the same mistakes you would make?
Right.
You know, even though you think, this time we'll do it different. You know, and you see through the show, you know, that absolute power does corrupt, absolutely. And you see people change, and you see people make mistakes. You know, the show's very human.
I want to ask you, how much does the Talking Dead series add to the fandom of this show? Because
the show's a very emotional show. You get very connected to the characters, and horrible things happen to them, and then you're left home alone with that. And this is a way to, I think, share what you're feeling, to sort of know you're not alone. And, you know, Chris has described it as the warm hug after the show. And you know, we laugh at that, but I think it is. You know, you get to process the show. You get to hear what other people thought about it. If you were, maybe you think, well, I think he or she is feeling this, or they're going through that, and then you hear people talk about it, and you get to sort of bounce your ideas off their ideas. So it is an extension in a way of the sort of the social media of it all, and that I think we like. I mean, we like that interaction. We like, you know, knowing we're right or wrong, or you know, being not necessarily corrected, but sort of like, what happened there? And if somebody talks about it, and that is what happened there, you know,
it's brilliant.
It's great. Yeah.
Michael, I wanted to ask us. I know you've voiced some characters in Call of Duty. They have a new World War II game coming out. Steve and I are massive fans of the World War II. I know they've spanned all kinds of different campaigns and so forth, but my favorites have been the one in the World War II. Did you voice any in that particular
nothing
game?
recent. I've been out of town for the last 4.
Okay.
Is voice acting for a video game a much different animal? Is it? We always hear it's sort of weird because you're kind of just freelining it, and that's it.
You're like, basically, this is a session, except you do it for 2.5 hours. Reload! Reload! Over here! Over there! Under there! Under here! Behind the tank! Behind the Jeep! For 2 days. 2 days.
2 days of that?
Yeah, and that's like, I wish I was kidding. I wish I was kidding.
So, but the cutscenes, at least, you have a little bit of.
Yeah. Reload! Can't use that one.
Reload!
Reload? That's great! Yeah. What? No, it wasn't great.
Great to have you here. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.
Michael Cudlitz, guys. Walking Dead, 93.3 WMMR.